So this guy asked me in a chat dialogue, he asked me when I want to sell, how and when. And I immediately just thought that when he said, I want to sell, I thought, well, I'm not sure. Maybe the market doesn't want what he wants. And maybe he should wait to sell at a higher price. You always have to sell high and buy low. If you sell low, you've got to buy lower. Like you've got to take the risk of the initial down move. If there's enough follow through in it, if it's a breakout trade, maybe because you have a sell stop down there, the only way to get in below where you're at is on a stop. And technically you're supposed to at least, unless you have a percentage stop, you're supposed to put your stop at the last down high. So if you want to sell, you have to have a reason, right? I mean, don't you want to have a signal or somebody tell you, hey, it's bearish? And that way you can at least plan for how much you're going to risk on that trade. And then how are you going to do it would be, I suppose you could go at the market, stops or limits. And I think the most critical thing is where. Now, he didn't ask me where. I would say the first thing is find out where you're going to sell. And then the last thing, the when part, the market's going to decide that for you. So luckily, you don't have to decide that. The only thing you need to decide is where. That was the only thing in trading is, that's like in real estate, they say location, location, location. Like, so if you're in the nice part of town, that's probably, even when the world comes unwrapped, it's still going to be the nice part of town. Now, a lot of people there, right? That's why it's a nice part of town. So it's not like they have to really, it's not like a big, giant middle class that has to rely on all the other middle class people just swapping little, what do they call them? Tchotchkes or whatever, little things. So, but yeah, I go to the chart here. I was trying to speculate. Now, the when thing, we have to build to the when. So we're going to try to estimate the place that the sellers are going to come in the future. And that's why I always want to run a chart shift here and go for speculate into the future. And I think they'll let you split this down the middle, actually. And this gives you a little bit more chance to have the market work around your schedule. You don't have to be here for these trades. I mean, the idea that you're going to miss something, it's just not, it never happens. Because you're trading price, not time. Yeah, it's going to take time to get there, but we're going to speculate how long it's going to take to get there. And we could go to the just depends how much you want to wait. If I put a timestamp in here and I split the week into half, so it's 2.5 days, you'd be in a swing trade for 2.5 days. And find the middle of the week. I think it's like here, right? So this is like the Wednesday rollover going into the swaps. And this is the dotted line. We're just going to leave that. That's the 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time close. If we go to the next middle of the week, we see the rollover. It's very little early here, but notice what happens during the rollover. It's the stop hunt. Okay, this is where you want to have your orders on the edge of these wicks, right? And you want to have them also on the close, which is nearly the edge of those wicks. I don't know if you would have got filled on this one. That's why, for the people that trade breakouts, the same thing holds true if you're going to trade limits. You're going to risk this entry. You're going to risk, okay, there's 3 entries here, right? You're going to risk that entry. So the Wednesday rollover entries, right? If you look back in time here, I'm going to go, my point being is that you're going to speculate the middle next week, Wednesday. So if you want it to look, that is your time, your cycle, right? This is the middle of the week cycle, kind of a linear cycle. It's a little offset here, like I guess you'd have to say that the inevitability that we were going to go after these stops. And I just say that because the bears, obviously, there was a guy that has stop right here, and he thought, well, they'll never touch that stop. And they just sheared it off, like, you know, and ripped it back. So, and you notice this cute little head and shoulders. So right at that shoulder pivot, just above that, a guy had or a robot had a stop because that's a higher high, right? And they just poked through that baby. I think this was the, well, that's back in like June, I don't know, 5th or something. But you can see that's probably the jobs report or something, or NFP, because it's the day after Wednesday. But notice the spike on Wednesday. Notice the washout spike here. Right. Now this was 2.5 day trading, middle of the week swings, just like the 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning on an hourly chart. Same drama. So notice this big washout here. If you look back, this double bottom here, that's where you want to get in on limits. Plus you have limits here, plus you have limits here, and you're not breaking any rules because you have a triple bottom, so you have to put an order there. It's like Jenga, you know. And when this thing comes unwrapped, right, you're building dominoes out in front of the market. Like here, like who can't see this, right? This is the swap kicks in here, right? So you want to be a contrarian. You want to think both things on Wednesday. Wednesdays are Wild Wednesday, I would call it. You know, I always call it Wild Wednesday to myself because I don't have any friends that trade. But you just pick out Wild Wednesday on this thing. I wish I had an indicator that would just do it for you, but you just copy that over, and you see the stop hunt wicks. See how they poke into this zone and rip it back, right? So that's the Wednesday. See the same story here. Notice with the clearing of coming all the way up. See the kickback and the smack up. That's a Wednesday classic, right? There's always the blow your, and it's usually a climax moment. Here now, I don't know if there's no holidays back here, but there is like a holiday here or something. But this is just like nothing but linear cycles. And of course, yeah, I'm selling up here on the, now this is the 4-hour chart. I have all the confidence in the world that I'm going to have a sell limit there for a scalp. And, but of course, you know, let's not forget when they start taking out this, we're going to go to the daily and see where we're at in the picture there. And you can see that when that happens, wow, yikes, right? Because that is going to be crazy land. They're going to just smash it all the way to 17. It may happen very quickly, especially if there's some kind of like Greek thing, right? I mean, we're at 115, right? Easy. And then the next target is going to be way up here. And people just be like, I can't believe it. Yeah, look at this beautiful bottom became a top on the daily, right? That was the ultimate. And notice that is the middle of the month. So if you have a middle of the month cycle and you have the middle of the week cycle, so I left all the middles of the week and I'm on the daily, so I built them on the 4-hour, but you can see that on close, it's pretty close to close of the day. In other words, the end of the day is here. I'm sorry, I mean the end of the, that swing is on a 12-hour, so it's the end of that, and then there's the wick after. But in the 4-hour, that 4-hour cycle, it's got the kickback in there. But near the end of the day, it climaxes up in here. Or you could shift these all over. But I'm just splitting it for 12 hours. You could definitely have the 4-hour script. And that's only going to project you out to, yeah, so if you build this into the future, and you're going to plan at least the next 12 hours ahead in front of you. You can obviously see that this is easy to draw. This, it makes sense. You could stack it off with this. You could project up into this area. But you're going to find this quadrant here, and you're just going to time it out, right? And you really want to get into the you want to build a triangle up in here. So if that's your sell order, and these are your sell orders, what's the earliest you would want to sell on a limit? Probably right here for the scalps, because once they grab that, it's probably going to pull back to here before it really gets the party started. It might just come up and grab those, and it might blow through them, you know. That's why you definitely want to have stops on everything. But when we come up into here, if you're going to project this, that's going to be 12 hours. This market could meander and just blah, 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 blah. But that's like a day away, right? That's like, well, as soon as the market opens, this thing's going to jump to here, so it's a little, but it's about 12 hours out in front of you. And then the next day, which doesn't show up here, we'll just make it out of yellow. It's going to be like that, right? And then here's the next day. So here's the, well, that's actually way out in front. Sorry, that's the weekly. So yeah, this is going to be way out in front. This is the 23rd. So yeah, and no patience. Just goes to show you. But if you're on the 1 hour, you're going to split the day down into half a day. But it's the same theory, okay? You're going to come in here with this channel. Should be able to do this. And if you can't see the channel right away, then, you know, then you just can't see it, right? But you have a channel envelope here, right? And just copy this. You have a channel range. You want to nitpick it too much. And then the first place we could draw a projection is off of here. And we connect that to the highest high. So we'll try to build a sell zone up here. We sell here. And right, and currently walking down this stairway. All right. But I don't think we're gonna come down like that. But if you came down there, you're gonna have buy limits down here. It coincides with, you know, all this support that it built up here. You don't have to say you can't take those supports out, but I don't think you want to be selling here on stops into it, unless you have a 300 pip stop on this thing. You want to pretty much get in the smallest time frame possible. The 1 hour seems to be doable. You know, it's not asking too much, and we can build this baby trend that we got going here, which might fail when we open into the session tonight. I don't know if we can keep walking up that thing. We might have to come back to the starting gate of this. If we parallel this out and drag it over to that swing low, we might have to do this thing here and just keep walking down. But it does look like it could pop up in here, so my first scalp would be to sell that for a pullback into the last known, which will become the support after this is the resistance. So if you can imagine it walking up and ricocheting off that, to me it's still worth it to get on the long train with a buy limit at this little baby, at this key pivot. So definitely I have buy limits sitting here, because ultimately the best entry on here, and if you're projecting the future, which it's the only way I can seem to do it, I want to speculate, and that's, you know, that's why they used to call it futures. But you can trade futures style on Forex. So you have your channel projection down here, and then you have your resistance. We're going to come up, walk up into that. We could walk back down. So it's about walking up and down these stairways. And where do you think, how long do you think the ultimate entry is going to be? This crotch area here, right? A triangle that you can build. A triangular window is good because it's got the time in there. So if your order is going to expire at the end of the day, right?